everybody, and welcome to this edition of Chrysalis on the Couch. My name is Jude Mason, and I'm a tutor with Chrysalis, teaching Year 2 and Year 3 in Nottingham. I also have a private practice in Nottingham, and I'm a hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, and supervisor. So our conversation today is going to focus on the importance of conversation in an increasingly digital world. And joining me today, I have Sue Watson and Kirsty Knight. So I'm going to let Sue and Kirsty introduce themselves. So shall we go to you first, Sue?
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm based in Nottingham, so I teach Year 1 for Chrysalis, and I'm in private practice. I'm a hypnotherapist, a counsellor, and a supervisor.
And I'm Kirsty. I'm also based in Nottingham, but I teach in Nottingham and Sheffield. Exactly the same as Sue. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, got my own private practice. I also run a training collaboration with a colleague, and also clinical supervisor as well. So yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah, so lots of commonalities here today.
Mm-hmm.
So our topic, I think, is really, really relevant at the moment, really relevant over the last couple of years, but I think particularly relevant in our kind of pandemic age, isn't it really? You know, we're living in a digital world anyway, but things have gone very much that way over the last couple of years, and I'm not sure they're going to go back, to be honest. Even when all of this is finished. If we can kind of see that far ahead. That's a whole different topic, isn't it? A whole different conversation. So we're talking today then about the importance of still talking to people face to face. I mean, we're all on Zoom right now, aren't we? But that doesn't suit everybody, I guess. And you know, when we were thinking of possible topics, this kind of came up as something that maybe didn't suit everybody, and maybe some people really struggled with the way that conversation has kind of been increasingly digitalized, increasingly virtual. So I don't know what you guys feel about this.
Well, I had an interesting scenario the other day, which kind of plays into this, in that we all know how stretched the NHS has been, and doctors and GPs and things like that. So I was phoning my GP for a reason, just for some medication. And it was like, oh no, you have to go online, or you can, you can write it on a piece of paper and drop it down to the surgery if you want to. But I can't talk to you and order it now. No, you can't. Okay, so what about people who are remote, not as mobile maybe, and are not IT literate? How does that help? Well, if they want prescriptions, then they can phone up between 8:30 and 10. That's not a long time. That's not a really big bracket. When I don't know about your GP practice, but mine has got sort of like 6,000 people on the books or something ridiculous. So what if, even 10% were trying to get, and I just said to the receptionist, well, hang on a minute. What if people just need to talk to you to order something? Well, they can't. It'll have to be this, that, and I got off I tried not to get shirty with her, but I got off the phone and I thought, wow, are we losing the art of actually talking to people? Because how many times have we heard in this pandemic, knock on the door of your neighbour if they live alone? Because a lot of people, the way we live now in society, we may not have to see or talk to anybody ever again, pretty much, apart from delivery drivers. Because let's face it, we can order our food online, we can order takeaways online, we can do our shopping online. How are we going to carry on the art of talking and listening? Let's not forget that bit as well. But actual conversation, connecting with people. And I think if it's one thing this pandemic has made people realise, just how important that is. Now, Zoom, Teams, FaceTime, whatever you want to call, whatever platform you want to use, is fantastic to keep some form of connection. But what I was conscious of is, are we going to actually lose the art of talking face to face to people? because I'm not sure how you guys have found in your practice, but even in the teaching now, we've gone back to face to face. All the students have turned around and said, wow, it does make a difference being in the room and face to face. And I'm a real advocate for keeping that connection with people. We can't just rely on technology. And it just made me, and I sat there and I did a bit of reflecting for about an hour thinking, wow, how has this pandemic changed our ability to talk to each other? I don't know what you guys have found, if you found it any different, if your clients are saying there's no difference between Zoom or face to face or whatever. But you know, for me, I think both of you know that I can get on a soapbox as much as anybody. But I think talking to people and still maintaining that connection, obviously being safe and all that yada yada, you know, but we've got to keep that. We've got to keep that connection of talking to people face to face and not just relying, because I think a lot of people underestimated the personal contact that they didn't really value or didn't really think that they needed until it wasn't there.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. And I've found in my private practice that as soon as we could do face-to-face in-person sessions, everyone went back to them.
Yeah.
I have one exception to that, and she changed her job partway. We used to be face-to-face, then the pandemic hit, we had to go onto Zoom, and then she changed her job, and because she was working shifts, it was a lot more convenient for her to stick with Zoom, and we got used to it. But we'd already built that face-to-face rapport. So I think
that makes a difference. I think
it does. It really does.
Mm.
And I have one client who he started on Zoom and he has elected to stay on Zoom, but things haven't gone away. And I think if COVID had gone away, he probably would have ventured into the counselling room as well. But things haven't, and anxiety is what he's coming with. So there's a lot that people are anxious about at the moment. So I think that's impacted. But they're the only two clients, and only one of them had experienced that face-to-face in-person dynamic and didn't go back to it. Everyone else is like, no, I want to go back to that as soon as possible.
Most of mine have gone back to face. I do still have some on Zoom, and I think, you know, I think there are loads of advantages to you know, to being able to offer Zoom. Actually, a couple of my clients don't even live in the area, you know, and I can still work with them, and that's fantastic. And I think, I mean, that's not really what we're talking about, but I think, you know, the digital world has opened up so much for so many people. However, you know, what you were talking about, Kirsty, that I think that is a real problem for people, and older people, for example. So, you know, my mum, for example, is very deaf. She's always had problems with her hearing, which with age is kind of just exacerbated, but she's always had issues with hearing, actually. That can be very, very difficult for her on, you know, having phone conversations with people where it used to be face to face, which it's not, I say it's difficult, it's impossible. Actually. So the phone conversations or phone appointments, I'm not just talking about medical appointments, and obviously we have to say the NHS have done a fantastic job, you know, so that notwithstanding, you know, but it's not just medical appointments, but those phone appointments instead of face to face, I have to do them for her because she can't do them. But she's a very, very independent lady, you know, and although I want to support my mum and she's happy to have that support, it's taken her independence away. She doesn't need someone to speak on her behalf. If she can speak to somebody and see their face and partially hear and partially lip read, she doesn't need me to do some of this stuff. And suddenly she's been thrown into a place of dependence, which she doesn't want to be in, and she doesn't really need. And I think that, you know, we hear a lot, don't we? Pandemic aside, we hear a lot about older people who are very lonely. And this is not helpful, is it? This kind of lots of older people don't want to go on Zoom calls. They don't want to do FaceTime. They don't want to do all that. Or maybe they haven't got the capacity to do all that.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't even just got the technical equipment to do all of that.
But it's like, just because we can doesn't mean we automatically or always should.
No,
I mean,
I agree. There should be a choice, shouldn't there?
it should be.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, that, numbers are climbing again and all that sort of stuff, but let's put that aside just for a minute, which would be nice not to think about that for a while, wouldn't it? But I think what you said as well, Sue, that, those who had that connection chose to go back to it. I think it's different if you've built up from a therapy point of view. If you've already got that therapeutic alliance with somebody, then they'll know what it's like to have that connection and be face to face and all that sort of. So yeah, let's get back to that. Fantastic. But also, as I say, communication, different types, it has its place. But what my worry, is that the right word? My concern is that we're going to forget what it's like to actually converse with people in face to face. Now where I live, everybody's really friendly. You walk down the high street, even if you've never seen them before. Morning. Oh yeah, how you doing? Yeah. You might stop for I was in the queue for the bakery the other day because it's only one person in the shop, and there was a right old conversation going on between all of us that were queuing, which was lovely. And I remember standing there thinking, oh my day, this is so nice. We don't know each other. We obviously live in the same area, but we don't know each other. But we're all having a chat. And I kind of think that might be something that's a throwback from us being so isolated that we're just grateful to have a conversation with people. But what a great thing that 3 or 4 complete total strangers, were having a conversation just really about nothing. But then, on the flip side of that, oh no, you can't do that. You can't talk to somebody. Oh no, between this time and that time. Well, what if it's not convenient for people? And yeah, it did make me think about how isolating it must be if you're not that technologically involved. So added to the pandemic, you're even more isolated because we've all gone on these things. And I think that the one sort of like the one rule, that it doesn't fit all.
No.
But don't you think as well, though? I mean, this isn't just about the pandemic, is it? I mean,
no, it's not.
I know, I've got 2 kids, sort of young adults, and they don't have those kind of conversations like we do.
No.
So if I see someone in the street, if I'm walking my dog and see someone in the street, even if it's someone I don't know, I'll just say hello. And I think that's a slightly older person thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I smile at people when I'm out and about. I think my daughter thinks I'm mad,
Yeah. What are you talking to him for? Well,
do you know that person?
I'm saying is more.
No.
No. But it doesn't hurt to say morning, hello, how you doing? Whatever.
This is kind of not how maybe younger people do it now, because it is all about the kind of digital world. I mean, this is a bit to digress here a little bit, but I don't know if you saw recently on the news, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, apparently now you can buy, and they cost as much as the real thing, you can buy virtual trainers. And people are buying virtual trainers. And it felt really strange to me. I'm sorry, I know we're digressing from conversations.
In what way?
You can choose a pair of virtual trainers, and they are actually I say as much as the real thing. They can be thousands of pounds. And and the question was, why would you want to buy a virtual thing when you can have a real thing? And that's the analogy, with the conversation.
Like what you did there, well done.
I'm just digressing though, aren't I? Quite a lot here.
But it's quite a good link. I like it.
Yeah, but and this guy said, well, I would do it because when I'm sort of, when I've kind of got my avatar, for my social media, my avatar can be wearing the virtual trainers that I've bought.
Oh my days.
Wow.
And we were sort of watching the TV going,
What?
Yeah.
But
what would be the point of that? So, and it is this other kind of like, I guess I want to sort of keep it real, but people are almost of that mindset that the virtual is as good. And actually, if not, this guy was saying that he actually thought it might be even better, that the virtual is as good as, or as genuine as, or as significant as the real thing.
Wow.
Had you not heard of that, ladies?
I hadn't. No.
You look that up, honestly. I'm not making it up. It's a real thing.
And suffice to say, from the look on my face and my reaction, I will not be doing that. I have quite enough going on in the present and in the real world to rather think about an avatar in the virtual world. With
a pair of trainers that's worth £5,000, or that costs
I'll keep £5,000 in my bank account. Thank you very much. This is what I'm talking about, though. When did virtual or versions of become better than the real thing? Now, I appreciate things move on, and I've often said that I think that nobody will see as many leaps and bound progresses as my great grandparents, because they went from horse and cart to man on the moon. I don't think there's that much of a distance to be had now with everything that we know and that technology, how it's evolved and things like that.
Kirsty.
But exactly. But who knows? But at the end of the day, we're still people. And what do we say in our class? We're herd animals. We need that connection. Technology has helped us keep a version of that connection going. But again, as I said at the start, when does it then become that that's the norm rather than actually talking to people, having conversations, building that personal connection with people, And we've all said, clients that have had that personal aspect first of building that therapeutic alliance and that relationship have gone back to it as soon as they can, because they understand the value.
There's a significance. There's a value and a significance, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. But I just think, in real life, and we've still got to value that actual physical connection, of which verbal connection is part of it. And in what way of life? You're on the phone. Let me just tell you what I need. No, you can't do that. Huh? You just it was so frustrating. But the frustration was dialed back when I sat there and thought, hang on a minute, let's look at this from a bigger picture point of view. Let's look at this from a bigger picture of somebody who just needs to get some help, but doesn't do technology, but they still need that connection. Can we please, at some point, make a bit of a decision that, the actual verbal connection, the physical connection. I know I'm not talking about going around hugging everybody. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, excuse me, just having that connection of a conversation and understanding its value and not almost dismissing it. And just because we are in a technology age and we have got lots of, good stuff at our fingertips, doesn't mean that always has to be the only option. And I think sometimes we fall into patterns, don't we? That's the way it's done. That's how it is. And that, we can do that, which means we don't have to do this. But that's all very well from your point of view. But what about the other person's point of view?
It should be an option, not an either or, shouldn't it? It should be an option. You can do it this way if that's better for you, because you can't get out, or you prefer to do it this way, or you're very technologically minded, or whatever. But there's an option that you can actually speak to a real person, put a real pair of trainers on your feet.
That's
really go outside for a walk.
Because you can't go outside for a walk in a pair of digital trainers.
No. But also I like it because when we go out and take the dogs for a walk and things like that, dog walkers, we're quite friendly people, so we talk to each other, but we never know each other's names. It's always like, oh, you're so-and-so's mum or so-and-so's dad. But do you know what? we don't, I mean, it happened to me the other night. I was out walking both my dogs. I have to do one at a time. And I met this beautiful wee little Labrador called Willow and her dad, Mike. And we just stood there for 10 minutes having a chat about dogs and just the area and how things were going and Christmas and that. And it was like, right, okay, better crack on now. And you know what? It just felt so nice to have a genuine face-to-face conversation with people, you know. And I just think if we're not careful and we're not mindful, potentially we could lose that, and that can be even more isolating for other people. So I think I'm very much an advocate for still making sure we keep that personal connection, and that, you know, wasn't it a slogan at some point somewhere, keep talking, you know? I think it was an old BT slogan or something, wasn't it, you know, back
Let's
in the
talk
day?
or something.
Something like that, wasn't it, you know, years ago. But do you know, I think I've decided that I'm going to be an advocate for that, and you know, put it out there even more, that we still need to keep talking to each other in real time, in real life, with real connections. Yes, if we, you know, we've got lots of technology at our fingertips, but let's not lose the human element of connectivity as well. And I think that is something that I think I'm going to be, in some way, shape or form, I don't know how, but really promoting a bit more, you know, trying to get out there, because, you know, we can do it safely. You know, we can still do it 2 meters apart if we still need to, and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, let's just keep talking to each other, because, you know, if we don't, then people are going to fall through the cracks, and that just
Well, people have been falling through the cracks.
Yeah, but even more so, I think.
I mean, in a way, I think this is a great conversation, and I feel connected to you too. I think for me, it's more for people who just can't do this as well.
Absolutely.
You know, people who just can't do this, and then they've got the choice, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely, But yeah.
So I think that's our take home then, isn't it? Keep talking.
I think so.
Yeah, I want to kind of go keep dancing, but we're just that's it. But that is another of my big things as well. So
yeah, no, I think that's a good takeaway.
Yeah, keep talking. I think, and you know, however you can, but just be mindful that not everybody can do this.
Yeah,
and some people need that absolute personal touch where, you know, it feels keeping it real, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, the knock on the door or the knock on the window. You're doing okay, you know, hi, and all that sort of stuff. We can't lose that. If we lose that, we lose even more people. And that,
well, we lose what makes us human, I think. Yeah. Oh, it's been great talking to you, ladies. Anyway, even though it is virtual.
Yes, absolutely.
I am a real person. I'm not just an avatar.
Yeah. It says I'm not a robot.
Yeah, not a robot. My avatar is so much better looking. So
mine's thinner.
Awesome.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. We hope everyone, you know, out there has enjoyed listening to our conversation. You know, be interesting to know sometime what you think about the human touch, and how you like to kind of, you know, how you like to communicate with people. Okay, so we hope you catch the next Chrysalis on the Couch. That will be coming out soon as well. All right, bye-bye.